Hello, and this is going to be a presentation for Back to School Night. It's going to be for my biology students' parents. I may be using this actually in school. As you can see across the top, it says Welcome Back to School Night 2013. First thing I want to do is I want to talk about these two pictures right here. I plan on flipping the classroom. Flipping the classroom actually very quickly just talks about doing classwork at home and homework at class, where I'll actually be assigning videos somewhat similar to this that I want my students to view at home, and then we'll come into class and we'll actually do hand-on activities or virtual activities or worksheets, or we'll do textbook, or we'll just talk about different ideas that we'll see in the biology class. As you can see, we've got this spinning earth, spins in a counterclockwise direction. We're going to be talking about the green areas as well as the brown areas and the blue areas and this layer of atmosphere that you see around the outside, all in this class, talking about plants, talking about things that eat the plants, talking about basically the living planet. At the bottom here you can see I want contact information. If you'll email me this contact information, which I'll show on the next screen, it's 10 extra credit points. You got 10 points for actually showing up tonight, and I'm sure your student appreciates that. Okay, here's the contact information. 10 points if you send me in an email. I don't want this in a phone call because I can't access phone calls at school easily. I've got to go to a different room to do that. But if you'll tell me your child's name, your child's class period, and I actually want you to do that because I don't know all the kids' names. I don't know what class period they're in. I'd like to know your name and your relation. I'd like to know phone numbers for home and work, and I'd like to know emails for home and work, and anything else you'd like to do. And here's my email: Dyer, D-Y-R-E-M-D, @pwcs.edu. And if you want to open this from our website, I'll show you where to get it. You can just click it and go. Intro to our biology class. School Fusion. This is the basic Fusion site that you can access all your child's sites. I don't know. I'm doing this thing in early mid-August, so I don't know the actual link URL that is going to be placed for our school site, but it'll actually have this in there as well as like biology and some other connotation to differentiate this biology class from other classes. Make sure that you've signed up for the Fusion site. I think I've been told this will be done automatically for you, but if not, when you sign up you can actually have access to your child's full schedule as well as some other things. You gotta love biology. And here's a picture of a living roof in a living environment with water in the atmosphere. Tougher to see, but the all-inclusive living environment that the Earth provides for us. And again, signing contact information. I put this on each slide because I really want contact information from you. Okay, here's a picture of a website. This is actually one from last year. I don't have access to our new Fusion site yet. The school is not going to give us access to it till the week before I actually see your children for the first day. As you can see, when you log in, it'll have your name up here at the top. Over here is a calendar. This calendar is just for this class. I'll actually put homework in here. If you wanted to see what is due on the 5th, or the 13th or the 19th of any particular month, not just October, you can actually see these by clicking, and you can actually see what I'm going to be collecting in that class for that day. Over here is where this course documents folder, I'm going to call it the CD folder. This is where I'm going to put 99.9% of all the material we actually do in class, including homework, documents, lab documents, vocab, PowerPoints, notes, anything else I can think of, it'll go into this folder. Course information for school and class. First day back to school, this is where I'll put the PowerPoint that you're seeing, as well as maybe even the video, although I'll put this up on YouTube. And then I don't know whether this is going to be on the site. This is on the site some years, not other years. Recent activity. If you want to see anything that's been newly changed on this site, you can go there. Okay, I just scrolled down a little bit. Here's the course document, course information, the Z folder. This is where I'm going to actually put anything that I think is actually kind of cool. Some of it may be biology, some of it may be science, some of it may be just cool stuff, and I'll put it in there. Announcements, I'm going to use this to actually tell you and kids about 2-hour delays, snow days. I'll actually put the link to our webcam on here as soon as it becomes active again. Down this discussion topics, I'll actually be posting pictures that I take of your children doing activities, water molecule, paper towel, tower, metric lab, vanity plates and science. You can click them and actually see the pictures of your children doing things. I'm going to make this site password protected very soon if it already isn't. So only people who have access to the class have access to the information that's on here. Over here you'll actually find tools. This is where you can actually change your password if you need to. My file is a virtual flash drive, and make sure you click, personal setting. This is where you update your email and password. And then log out. Make sure you log out before you do things. Before you go on to something else. Quick lesson in biology. This follows as a sample PPT, and yes, we still use 2007 here at Forest Park. A few things that will be covered in this class. All biology classes cover the same material, but if you take a look around this room, we're going to be using a lot of technology. I would really like to know that your son and daughter have home access to this stuff as well. Contact information, expect emails from me at any time on any subject, some of them official, some of them not so. Expect web assignments to pop up where your child will actually be doing work online. If there's snow days, I lose a school day and I will be giving them an assignment. Probably the first snow day, maybe not, but if we go to 2, 3, 4, 5, one year we had 13, definitely snow day assignments to keep them up to snuff. And this is going to be a BYOD year where they get to bring their own devices, tablets, smartphones, anything. They can access the Forest Park web, and we'll be doing things with those as well. And then your kids are expected to check their email. I really hope they have home access to the web. Check their email at any day that ends with a Y. Okay, scientific method lab safety. We'll be talking about the scientific method first. If you look in the back of the room, I've got these posters up there, which talks about the whole plan of the scientific method. It's actually a very good tool for life lessons as well. In biology at Forest Park. And we'll be, like I said, we'll be talking about things that are alive and their abiotic and biotic environments. Biochemistry, we'll talk about water chemistry and the water molecule and the fact that it's polar, has a plus end right there and a negative end right there, which allows for water drops, allows for surface tension to let bugs walk on it. If you've ever done a belly flip, that wouldn't happen if we had oceans made out of alcohol rather than water. We'll talk about specific heat or hidden heat, where you take a piece of ice and you warm up the temperature, and as long as there is solid ice there, the temperature itself goes up, but we don't actually see any change. And then at 0 degrees we'll actually see that the ice turns into liquid water, breaking hydrogen bonds, and we'll actually see that the water temperature stays pretty much the same until all the ice is melted, and then we'll see a temperature increase as the water gets warmer and warmer and warmer. We will get condensation out of here, but at this point right here we get boiling of water, and then again as we break hydrogen bonds, changing the water from liquid water to gaseous water, we don't see any temperature change, latent heat, hidden heat, and then once all the water's evaporated, the gas goes on basically forever, increasing temperature. Okay, so we add heat to the system going this way. We take heat from the system going this way. We can take water vapor and turning it into liquid water in a process, the solid water, into liquid water in a process called melting. We can take liquid water, put it back into it, a process called freezing, 32 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius. We can actually add more heat to it and make it evaporate into gaseous water. I hate the way they actually show this because gaseous water is invisible. Clouds are not made out of gas. They're made out of either liquids or solids, depending on temperature. It's the blue sky that has the water vapor. It's an invisible thing to our eyes. And we either can condense it or evaporate it, depending on which way it goes. Then we'll talk about organic compounds, compounds for life. 3 basic things: amino acids, which makes up the like DNA and RNA, carbohydrates you find in flour and pasta, good energy source. We'll be talking about fats or lipids, which is another good energy source that also does some things for cell membranes and things. And then the last one, there's lipids. And the last one, nitrogenous bases, which are there. Okay, I'm sorry, the amino acids make proteins, nitrogenous bases make up DNA and RNA. Cells, cell theory. All living things, organisms are made out of cells. And these cells are created from old cells. Cells are the basic unit of life. We'll talk about blood cells as being eukaryotic cells having a nucleus at some point, although they don't have them when we consider them as regular blood cells. We'll talk about the phases of mitosis and meiosis, all these phases that you see going through there. We'll talk about organelles and structure. The fact that we are organisms, our cells are made out of organelles, small little organs inside of the cells. We'll talk about the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. We'll talk about analogies, where I'll actually break them up in groups of 4, and they'll actually have a piece of paper and they'll come up with their own analogy for a cell, whether it be a city, a prison, a shop, or something, and they'll come up with something like this, where they actually have, you can see this is a vacuole, you can see there's a Golgi apparatus, there's the chromosomes, it's probably the nucleus. I can't really read some of these, but you can actually see the cell membrane going out there, but they'll actually make an analogy of a cell and come up with, I think, a better learning method than just writing it down. I can use other things in there, so we can actually look at, if we want to find out about the nucleus, we can click it and learn about it. If you want to find about rough ER, or smooth ER, or Golgi apparatus, we can look at them this way as well as other ways. Cells continue. We'll talk about photosynthesis and respiration, how plants can actually take sunlight and turn it into sugar as well as oxygen, and then how other cells, including plant cells, take in that sugar and oxygen and release carbon dioxide, water, and the energy for life. And we'll go into a lot more detail on that. Mitosis and meiosis, like I said before, genetics, heredity, Mendel and what he did in terms of locating ways we can actually pass things on to our offspring, and actually mutations, although we probably don't get bird dogs like that. How we can actually plant seeds and actually come up with different varieties from the same seed. Talking about DNA and what it actually does in terms about locking in genetic information. We'll talk about nucleic acids and protein synthesis. And of course we'll talk about the double-stranded DNA as well as the single-stranded RNA. Here's another animation thing that we can actually show in PowerPoint by doing things. Mitosis wrap, maybe. The way to actually make this was not created by one of my students, but I did have students try to create things, although they never gave them to me. Meiosis, talking about how we can actually start with one cell and watch the cell go over and actually make mutations, overlapping, so we can actually end up with four gametes that actually are exactly the same, except that they're completely different. Variation adaptation, talk about Galapagos finches, the tortoise and the way they've actually changed because of the environment in which they live. We'll talk about phylogenetic trees. We'll talk about classification. There's a phylogenetic tree, a little better example of it, where we actually talk about the basic form of life breaking off into the different areas, as well as breaking off into plants and humans. But you can see lots of different things are on this planet, all very similar in terms of DNA. Viruses, and we'll talk about other critters, Moneraria, protists, fungus, plants, and then we'll end up talking about invertebrates, and then we'll move into human anatomy and physiology. I don't know if we'll actually use this book because I think I don't have this book anymore. We'll talk about human physiology and what goes on in the human body, and then we'll end up the year with ecology, talking about relationships and ecosystems, talking about abiotic as well as biotic and how they actually are interrelated, how that we rely on one level and all levels. Ecology of Virginia, where we talk about the Chesapeake Bay in its pristine condition, or we'll talk about Chesapeake Bay with the addition of humans, which can change things. And then hopefully Ain't Biology Grand, biology at Forest Park High School. Again, send me that contact information for home and work. And you may be disappointed if you fail, but you're doomed if you don't try. And that's a very good thing to live by. Do your best. And then don't forget to send me that email again at dyer.md.edu. Thank you much. Now it's 15 minutes long.